It's been a minute, but I can finally say I've seen a shark movie that's not only good, that I thoroughly enjoy ever since Jaws. Now I've seen a handful of shark movies, and one last year I really liked, but that was total guilty pleasure. So I'm really happy to say that Animals is about a serial killer who uses sharks as their choice of weapon. Now there are a good bit of pros for this one. Like, I enjoyed the characters we got. Zephyr was probably a really good final girl who caught my attention, and really smart choices throughout the movie that I did enjoy. I also enjoyed Tucker, our serial killer. I thought he was kind of well acted, and this movie did make me laugh a couple of times. And even if you're going for like the smaller characters, with the exception of one, which I'll talk about later, I think they were pretty well acted and pretty well done. And especially since I did enjoy the introduction of this movie before it showed the title, I did enjoy that. And I did enjoy the way they interpreted Jaws in this movie. What do I mean by that? I mean, they mention Jaws and they name Jaws in it. And they do take some of the action Jaws does by not showing the shark a lot. But what I appreciate is that it acknowledges Jaws, but at the same time takes a different spin with it being a serial killer, not just a people being attacked by a shark movie. So it feels like they took inspiration from Jaws, but it's a different movie. And I enjoy they did that. And I also did enjoy the ending. But I would have enjoyed it a little bit more if they did one change, which we'll talk about later. Now, for my mixed, I only have a very small mix. I feel like this movie can be predictable. I mean, it could be pretty predictable, but I feel like they did some things where it was going to end, but they kept going. A few too many times they did that. And that's didn't take me too much from the movie, but it did a little bit, but still didn't really affect my overall experience. And the sharks in this movie I thought looked pretty decent, but there are some shots where I think they looked better than others. Like, for example, there was one shot in when we first see them that I'm like, those eyes are kind of weird, but they didn't, but later shots it didn't look like that. They looked better in other shots than others. I'm gonna say that. And I only have really one negative, and that is going to be the relationship between our two leads, the female and the male. I feel like if they changed to make friends, it would have been so much better. And that change could have pretty made easily, but I understand that choice, but I really wish they would have changed that. But really, with those being all that overview, let's talk about some spoilers. The first spoiler I really want to talk about is what I would change between characters, between Zephyr and the guy. I would have made them friends, and this is how I would do it. I would have Zephyr living in Australia, still doing all of that, but her friend recently moved there a week, and they finally had time to meet up, right? Like, they're best friends, childhood friends, some kind of friend relationship, right? And they're like, oh my god, they hang out. Zephyr, they both into surfing, and the text of like, hey, can I join you? Drives in, goes there, and goes into full investigation. Not only would that have established better friendship, better connection, make it care more depth about the character in the relationship, it would have also made the ending better. Like, they were friends, they cared about each other, and I don't feel like you see a lot of platonic friends in movies like that. I think you see more romance between male and female, so I really wish they did that. And as well as Tucker's like reason for doing this, I think because he can is what his reason is, and I feel like that worked. And the way he kind of talks about prey and shark, with him being the shark and his victims being prey, I think they did that well in the movie. I did get chuckled the ending when he got pushed and taken out by what he called himself later on. I found that funny, and that whole thing worked well for this movie. I think they did a well balance of it. And the whole ending of them being able to survive and that ship just turned around. Again, the ending would have been perfect if they just had them as friends and not romantic partners, because I did not get that like vibe at all of connection or friendship. I just didn't get that vibe of romantic. I felt like that one night stand. I'm like, okay. But just as well as that story with it, I did enjoy this. So that all really being said, I did enjoy this one. I don't think it's gonna be on the same level as Jaws, but I do think it does a good job at being a good shark movie, and something that you don't really see a lot of, with the mixture of serial killer and shark. So that being said, I would rate this movie pretty well. I would say go watch it if you're a fan of shark movies and serial killer movies. I'm a fan of Criminal Minds, so Shark, Criminal Minds. It kind of works a little bit for me. With that being said, let me know if you saw Dangerous Animals and comment down below what you thought of it. If you did, I'll see you soon with a brand new video.